Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist TJ Del Santa with an update on this very messy winter storm that we're going to be enduring for the next 36 hours. Let's get a look at the situation. Already had a little bit of light snow coming on through this evening, some minor accumulations there. Winter weather advisory continues until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening for all of Rhode Island and nearby Massachusetts, excluding Block Island. You are not in that winter weather advisory. In fact, you'll probably be dealing with mainly rain. Speaking of rain, we have a flood watch in effect. 6 o'clock Sunday morning until 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We are looking at a lot of rain with this system, maybe 2 to 3 inches. Now imagine if that was snow. We're talking like 20, 30 inches of snow. We're not looking at that. We're looking at very little snow, actually. The rain will be the predominant precipitation type with this storm. Also have a coastal flood advisory, minor coastal flooding possible around the time of high tide, 5 to 10 a.m. Now, obviously, we're not expecting coastal flooding up here in Exeter and parts of Richmond, but you get the picture. South Coast Rhode Island, around Narragansett Bay, South Coastal Massachusetts, Cape Cod, Plymouth County, Vineyard, Nantucket, all have a coastal flood advisory as we are looking at some minor coastal flooding. A little splash over, could be some especially low-lying areas could see some of that flooding. Satellite radar combination showing where the storm is this evening. It's right about in there, and it's going to be working its way right over southern New England as we go through the daytime on Sunday. Let's get a look at it hour by hour with our forecast here. And here we are, 6 o'clock this evening, a little bit of light snow. Now, 9:30 this evening, a little bit of light snow just about everywhere, excluding the south coast. Notice we've got very little in the way of precipitation down in here, at least in terms of wintry precipitation. 11 o'clock this evening, most areas seeing snow, but we're beginning to see that warmer air working its way in toward dawn tomorrow. Here we are, 4 o'clock in the morning. Inland areas still dealing with snow, but there'll be a bit of a mix of rain and snow, maybe some freezing rain and some sleet taking you into 8 o'clock Sunday morning. Pretty much rain everywhere, maybe a heavy rain as well. And that's why we're looking at the possibility for some street and poor drainage flooding. 5:45 tomorrow evening, we'll be seeing the precipitation winding down. I got a couple of questions from Bob Horton and Tim regarding the eclipse. Look at the sky cover tomorrow night at peak eclipse time. Looks like it'll be mainly clear. Now, there could be some clouds around, but it might be some good viewing for the eclipse. Monday morning will be drying out, but it'll be windy and very cold, and temperatures will be in the single digits. Wind chills could be down into the 10 to 15 degree below zero range. How much snow are we talking about? Sunday by dawn. Most of this will be in the form of rain by dawn on Sunday, but 2 to 4 inches expected. Northern Rhode Island, including Woonsocket, Providence, into Foster, Gloucester, Scituate, Johnston, North Providence, Lincoln, Central Falls, Pawtucket, 2 to 4 inches. 1 to 2 inches expected, say from northern westerly up into Narragansett, across the bay into Jamestown, Bristol, Fall River, New Bedford, 1 to 2 inches. But do note, right along the south coast, very little, if anything, in terms of precipitation expected. Now, that's what will fall before we see that changeover to sleet and freezing rain. By the time you wake up in the morning, a lot of this might already be gone, especially down near the south coast. Let's take a look at the ice forecast. I had a couple of people, Sarah asking how much ice does it take to weigh down trees and power lines. Generally a 1/4 inch or so is what you need to weigh down power lines and trees to the point where they could snap. We're not looking at that much. In fact, most of the icing appears to be to our north, and everything has shifted north because we're in a bit of a warming trend. Chris wanted to know, will there be any damaging ice in Scituate? No, there will be a glaze of ice, that's for sure, during the storm, but we're not looking at a dangerous amount of freezing rain and sleet. Now, tomorrow, later in the day, as the temperatures plummet, any moisture on roadways and other surfaces will be freezing. That's another situation we'll get into in a second. All right, so now to 3 a.m., that's when the bulk of the snow will be falling. 3 a.m. To 1 p.m., we'll see that changeover from sleet to freezing rain early on, turning to all rain and heavy at times as well. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., the precipitation's winding down. And then after 4 p.m., we are looking at a flash freeze. The temperatures will be dropping very quickly tomorrow late afternoon and tomorrow evening. Let's take a look at the power outage potential. This is interesting. You can see that we do have a slight chance of power outages across most of Rhode Island, with the exception of Newport and Little Compton, down to Westport, out here across southeastern Mass, including New Bedford, southern Plymouth County, Cape Cod, and the islands. Not because of wintry precipitation, but instead because of some very strong winds that'll be developing. Take a look at the wind gust forecast as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Let's wait for the computer to catch up here. We are expecting wind gusts between 30 and perhaps 60 miles an hour out across parts of Cape Cod as we go through the daytime on Sunday afternoon. Here we are, 62 mile an hour gusts perhaps in Hyannis, 25, 35 mile an hour gusts southern Rhode Island into southeastern Massachusetts. And that's certainly enough to bring down some power lines and some trees as we go through the latter part of the day on Sunday. Rainfall forecast, well, check this out. Nearly 3.5 inches of rain in Providence. 3 inches in Hopkinton, about 3 inches in Newport. This is why we're looking at a flooding potential in terms of street and poor drainage flooding. Rivers should be okay, but we could be looking at a lot of street flooding. Keep in mind, snowplows come by, clog up the storm drains, so any rain that falls might not be able to drain. So if you can tomorrow morning, unclog any storm drains near your house. We also, again, have that chance for some minor coastal flooding tomorrow between 5 and 10 a.m. I wanted to show you this quick. Wind chills for Monday morning. A lot of kids don't have school, it being Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Wind chills will be dropping to 15 degrees below zero at times. Very uncomfortable start to the day tomorrow. So that's it in a nutshell. We have snow for most of the night, turning over to sleet and freezing rain, over to all rain, and a heavy rain at that. Coming up later tonight, we'll have that updated forecast for you, look at some new information, and hope you get through the storm safely.